Hi, and I welcome you all for the today's session 5 in Unit 1 of Basic Principles of Multicolor Offset Printing. Let us see the topic which we are going to cover in this session. The remaining parts of the faults and remedies in a multicolor printing process, and then ink mixing, color mixing, along with some multiple choice of questions. Let us understand the concept one by one. In faults, today we will discuss about hickeys. Firstly, hickeys are irregular shapes, white spot on a printed surface. Hickeys with open centers indicate a paper problem. So normally hickeys are formed by the paper problem, or substrate problem. The fibers gets break during printing and it transfers down to the rollers of plate or a dampening roller. Ink first it transferred to the ink rollers or the dampening rollers, and then it transfers to the plate, and then it transfers to the blanket, and similar the same spot transfers down to the substrate. Normally the causes are the paper coatings or the dust, old or tacky inks pull coating from the paper, excessive dampening solutions may lift coating. The remedies are: consult the paper manufacturer to install a vacuum sheet cleaner or to change the stock. Consult the ink manufacturer also and adjust the ink and water balance to avoid the hickeys. Next we have problem is picking and linting. Picking is nothing but lifting the coating from a coated stock onto the plates and blankets or the ink train rollers. Linting is the accumulation of fibers from uncoated stocks onto the plate and blanket or even ink train rollers. Both are causes through the paper or the substrate. Too much of water reaching to the paper, excessive lint surface trash coating dust on stock, base stock peaks on the substrate, and the pressure is too high for ink or stock combinations. The ink tackiness is also important. Blanket too tacky and ink tacky for stocks. These are also reasons. The solutions is adjust the proper ink and water balance, consult the paper manufacturer, reject the stock if necessary, change to more lint or pick resistant stocks. Even we can adjust the pressure and repack to the manufacturer specification, giving the packing also as per the specification. Consult the blanket manufacturers, treat the blanket or change a less tacky blanket or change the blanket wash if the blanket is too tacky. Consult the ink manufacturer to adjust the ink for less tackiness. Next problem is resistor. This because due to the improper registration of a plate or the blanket, this may cause. So to prevent the consistently good resistor, the plate and the all the printing units should be properly aligned. Causes are improper alignment of press, plate, blanket and substrate, blanket swollen or embossed, poorly trimmed press sheets, static electricity on the press sheets, image improperly aligned on the plate. The solutions are: make the adjustments of plate, blanket and the substrate. Replacement of blanket if it is fallen or if it's damaged. Electrostatics, the press by fanning sheets, it can be reduced. Even the air between the sheets also it can pass. Check the press area for a film and vacuum problems. Next problem is setup or blocking. Setup: ink transfer to the back side of the sheet above. Causes due to the ink is not quickly dried. Blocking: sheet in a bundle or a load stick together by ink. It is also one of the problem of ink drying. Causes are insufficient spray pour, lifts are too heavy, rough handling of loads, or remedies or increase the powder application to avoid. Anti-set of powders are used in the delivery unit to avoid the setup. Run shorter lifts to try the lifts of bundles. Do not drop or jerk loads during transportation. Next problem is coming. The non-image area of the lithographic plates accept the ink in random areas. This is may cause due to the ink and water balance. See, this is how it will in the image. This is how it will occur the patch. Causes are low alcohol content in the dampening system, glazed blanket or ink rollers or dampening rollers. Excessive printing pressure may also cause the patches. Ink body to greasy or spread into the non-printing areas. Plate is improperly processed or exposed to light. Fountain solution is highly bichromated. Ink is too soft. Then improper pH of fountain solution, improper offset or worn dampening rollers, ink rollers overheated. The solution is adjust the proper alcohol concentration, clean the blanket rollers thoroughly when reconditioning to a manufacturer specification. If it is worn out or some gets damaged, you can replace it. Reduce the printing pressure to proper levels. Make sure the ink is on standard. Consult the ink manufacturer to reformulate the ink necessary. Desensitize or remake the plate. Adjust the plate making process. Adjust the fountain solution to a proper pH conductivity. Then consult the ink manufacturer for stiffer ink. Adjust the roller to proper pressure and replace the cover if necessary. Check for worn bearings and replace if necessary. Adjust the roller pressure. Otherwise, improper pressure may apply wherever the area is bearings are wear out. Next, we have to study about ink mixing. This is the one of important process in a color mixing, even ink manufacturing unit. Match the particular color for printing can either be done entirely in the ink manufacturer, primarily done by the manufacturer only. In-house adjustments are completely performed in a house. When mixing a color, the base color is white or matched according to the color chart, whatever is required by the ink manufacturer and color experts. The important factor in color mixing is identifying in which particular color direction a base ink has to go match the desired color. It is also important that the ink mixer to keep hand a sample of mixed ink, a detailed record of how the final color was arrived at, and the press proof, an example of how the color prints on the intended substrate. You must keep from the starting the base, how much is taken and how much is the color it has taken to match the even color. The three basic stages of color mixing is matching, mixing and testing on the substrate how the color is appearing. In matching a color chart will be indicates the key color or the color which will form the primary component of the ink mix. A small test sample should be mixed and dab of the final ink placed on the intended substrate to ensure that ink will retain its colors after printing and drying. Next, we will study about color mixing. The primary ingredient of color mixings are strong base color is white inks. It is a transparent ink and opaque inks. Black inks and neutral grays are used. Utilizing the color chart, the three colors measurements by hue, value, chroma. Hue represents the wavelength shades of the colors. Value represents the darkness or lightness. Chroma represents the strength can be determined, and each of these three colors aspects can be adjusted by the color mixer. The hue can be adjusted by adding the color that will bring it back in the direction it needs to go. If a blue is too purple, yellow or a green maybe need to be added. So if the value is incorrect, then the ink will need to be darkened or lightened using either a black or a suitable dark color or white or a suitable light colors is used to balance the value. If the chroma is incorrect, then add a neutral gray can help bring the color purity where it is need to go. Should to match the gray be added, the original base color can be added to revise the gray 10. Another important consideration in the color mixing is to ensure that all the ingredients added are compatible chemically and mechanically. Ink that dries by evaporation should not be mixed with ink that dries by oxidation. Always it should be bifurcated. The heat set ink should not be mixed with the moisture set inks because heat set inks are dry by evaporation and the moisture inks dry by oxidation. Designed for letterpress printing should not mix with the ink designed for offset, lithography and so forth. Testing of the ink should be checked in three aspects. One is accurate color, correct drying and runnability in the machine. Let us discuss the multiple choice questions. The irregular shaped white spots on the printed surface is called dash. The options are trapping, mottling, picking and hickeys. Normally, the white spots is shown in the printed surface because of the paper fibers is the main rule and the coating of the paper may come out from the paper and sticks onto glazing on the rollers. This may cause the white spots on the printed sheet. This is the clue to answer this question. Lifting of the coating from the coated stocks onto the plate, blanket or ink train is called. The options are trapping, mottling, picking and hickeys. Normally, it will stick onto the printed sheet. This is the clue. Accumulation of fibers from the uncoated stocks onto the plates, blankets and the ink train rollers will cause dash problem. Options are trapping, mottling, linting and hickeys. Normally, it will from the from the uncoated stocks, the fibers are come out. That accumulates on the blanket rollers or the ink train roller, even blankets or even the ink train rollers that may cause this problem. This is the clue to answer this question. Improperly aligned plate, blanket, substrate will cause the dash problem. The options are resistor, blocking, scumming and powder spray. Normally, one color or the another color is not properly aligned. This is the clue to answer this question. If it is correctly aligned, we call it as a resistor, perfectly resistor. Okay. Ink transfer to the back side of the sheet above is called dash. Options are trapping, mottling, scumming and setup. I will give the clue to answer this question. We will use an anti-set of products. This is the clue to answer this question. A sheet is a bundle or a load stick together is called trapping, blocking, scumming and setup. Normally, you should not use heavy lifters or during transportation you should not jerk or anything happens further. This should not happen. The ink is stick one paper over the other. Next question. In a delivery unit, dash system is adopted to avoid a set of problems. The options are trapping, blocking, scumming and powder spray. We have already discussed to avoid a setup we will use anti-setup powder. Next question. In a house, dash colors are matched according to color chart and a system provided by ink manufacturer and other color experts. The options are base, trapping, red and none of them. The clue to answer this question is it is white color. Along with we will match, either we will add a gray, either we will add a color ends to match the color chart. Next question. Dash is the specific wavelength or a shade of the color. The options are beige, hue, saturation and none of the above. Normally, value will give the brightness or lightness, saturation will give this thing, and the hue will give the specific shades of the color. This is the clue to answer this question. Dash is the degree of darkness of light we represents. The options are beige, hue, saturation and none of the above. So clue we have already discussed in the previous question about this. Thank you all once again.